Hello friends, my name is Habib. Today we are going to learn how to use if statements and input in Python. So first, create a new file called ifandinput.py. So in this ifandinput.py, now, before you watch this video, make sure you have watched my introduction to Python video. So, in the introduction to Python, we learned all about variables and print statements. So now, here, we're going to learn all about inputs and if statements. So now, create a variable called s is equal to input, name, save it, and then write Python 3 if and input.py. Now it is going to ask for your name. Now if I type Hab, nothing's going to happen. But if I add a print f hello s, now, if I run this again and write Hab, it is going to say, hello, Hab. So what this basically does is that when it runs, it is going to ask for your name and then store your name or what you wrote here in this variable. So then after that, it is going to print the variable where the input is stored. Now, we can do this multiple times, like if I write d equals input age and then print f your age is, and then write d. Let me separate them using spaces. Now if I run this again and write name Hab, after that, it will ask for my age. So then, if I write like this, it's going to say your age is whatever you wrote here. So now that we've learned about inputs, it's time for if statements. So then now, I am going to create a variable called like n, and then n is going to be equal to heb. So now I could just write print n, but that is boring. So now I can write if then n is equal to heb, then print n. But instead of writing print n, instead write print hello happy. Now you can see it is going to print hello happy instead of heb. But if I change this to he, it is not going to print any. See, because what this basically does, it means that if the value of n is equal to heb, which in this case is equal to he, then it is going to do this. It is going to print hello happy. Now, what if I want it so that if the value of n is not heb, then it's going to do something else? Well, write else print inv. So now, since the value of n is not heb, it is going to print inv instead of hello happy. Now, there's one more possibility. What if I want to make it so that if n is not heb, but if n is something like h, then I want to do something. Well, in this case, we could create another if statement and write if n is equal to h, but that's boring, so there is an elif n is equal to h, then it is going to print n. So if I change this to h, then it's going to print h. Else, if n is not equal to heb or h, it's going to print inv. So yeah, this is for strings, but what about numbers? So I can write if n is greater than 0, then it's going to print hello happy. Elif n is equal to 1, elif n is greater than 1, then it's going to print 24. Now what this does is that if n is less than 2, then it's going to print 24. Wait, let me change this to if n is less than 4. So anyways, what this does is that this greater sign means if n is greater than 4, anything above 4, then it's going to print this. If n is equal to 4, then it's going to print n. Or if n is less than 2, if n is something like 0, then it will print 24. Else, if none of these conditions are true, it's going to print inv. So now, before I end this video, there's one more thing I want to show you, which is not. So instead of writing if n is equal to 4, I can write if n is not equal to 4. Then it is going to print h. Wait, I was meant to write if not elif. Anyways, right, if n is not equal to 4, then it's going to print h. And since n is not equal to 4, in this case it's 0, it's going to print h. But if I change this to 4, then it's going to print inv. Anyways, last thing I want to do. Now, in this age, I'm going to write if then d is equal to 10, then it's going to print your 10 or your 10. Else print your age is F, your age is D. So now, if I put my name Hab, nothing will happen. But if I write 10 in my age, no wait, Hab. But if I write 10, it's going to say you're 10. Now, you might be wondering, why can't I just use number instead? Well, that is because input render everything as a string. So if we use numbers, it is not going to work. It's just going to print your age is T. But if I want to convert it into string, you can write int, and that will convert it into string. You can write int, and that is going to convert it to a number. Anyways, that is it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe to my channel, ObaCode. Bye!